Oh man, my Luke's broke. Man, that sucks. I guess I'm gonna have to get another set. So hey, what's up homies? How's it going? Welcome back to another Dirtbag review. I know it's been a long time, I had a lot going on and stuff, but now I'm gonna try to get this done a little bit more regularly, Like I said, I've had a lot going on in life, with work and then trying to work out and stuff, bringing sexy back, you know what I mean, Holmes? So anyway, today I want to talk to you about a pretty cool movie that came out in 1980, homies. But before I get too far into it, if you could do me a solid, man, why don't you hit like, share, and subscribe? Yeah, hit like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Share with your homies, because sharing is caring. And don't forget to subscribe, And if you really like the stuff, why don't you hit the little bell notification? That way you know whenever I'm on, Holmes. You know what I mean? But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. You guys are feeding me, Holmes. And like I said, I apologize again for it being so long. But, I'm back now. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play you a clip from the movie. One of my favorite parts of the movie. It's pretty funny, a little silly thing, and then we'll get into it, right? So I'll see you on the flip side, Holmes. Firme.
Mr. Webb, I just gotta win that caddy tournament. I owe it to my folks to get that scholarship.
What do you want to go to college for, Danny?
I don't know.
Let me tell you a little story. I once knew a guy who could have been a great golfer. Could have gone pro. All I needed was a little time, some practice. Decided to go to college instead. Went for 4 years. He did pretty well. At the end of his 4 years, it was the last semester, he was kicked out. You know what for? He was night putting. Just putting at night. The 15-year-old daughter of the dean. Know who that guy was, Danny?
No,
Take one good guess.
Bob Hope.
No, that guy was Mitch Cumstein, my roommate. He's a good guy. Don't be obsessed with your desires, Danny. The Zen philosopher Basho once wrote, "A flute with no holes is not a flute. And a donut with no hole is a Danish." He's a funny guy.
You missed just that one.
In one physical model of the universe, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line in the opposite direction, Danny.
Unbelievable.
Thank you very little.
Okay, so you can probably tell from the clip, we're talking about Caddyshack. Came out in 1980. It was directed by Harold Ramis. It stars Chevy Chase as Ty Webb. I almost said Ty Cobb. Totally different dude, right? Anyway, Chevy Chase as Ty Webb. Michael O'Keefe as Danny Noonan. So, really, the movie revolves around Danny Noonan for the most part. And in fact, I'll get into it real quick before I go further into explanations and stuff. So you had like regular actors, and then you had all these cool comedy guys that were in this movie, right? Like Chevy Chase, Ronnie Dangerfield, Bill Murray, and being Harold Ramis, who he is, he really focused on his friends and people doing the comedy and stuff, and kind of let them do their thing at the expense of everybody else in this. I don't want to say at the expense of the movie, but it was originally going to be a very different movie because it was supposed to revolve around the caddies. It's Caddyshack. But ultimately, it was more about the comedy hijinks of these other guys, So they took up more and more of the story and took away space from these other actors, and in certain places it almost feels like two different movies, because there are scenes, especially the pool scene, where there's people that are having interactions, and you're watching these interactions, but you don't really know these characters, so you don't have any repertoire with the characters to understand really what's going on, the dynamics, like there's this girl that's getting picked on by this dude, and she's like, oh, that's it, you know, and she she pantses him underwater. But you know, the way the movie makes it, like the way it feels is like you should have, like this was a build-up, you know what I mean? Like there should have been a lot more scenes of, you know, people messing with this poor chick for her to finally snap and be like, you know what, you're toast, homie, you know, and just things like that. There's like just a lot of scenes that feel like are missing, you know. So as much as I really love this movie, and I really do, I think it's hilarious. It's a great movie, you know. It's the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, really set the tone for the decade, because there was some really crazy movies that came out, you know, like right there at the end of 70s and right in the beginning of the 80s, you know, just great movies, you know, all around. But anyway, I'm just really interested in like the movie it could have been as well as this, you know. It feels like it's just two different movies that came out of this process, you know. But anyway, that aside, with that explanation, I'll go on and stuff, and then there's some other funny stuff I'll talk about later on, you know. But for now, we'll carry on with this. So anyway, like I said, movie revolves around Michael O'Keefe's character, which is Danny Noonan, who he's got a huge family, you know. In the beginning of the movie, you get a good taste of it, you know, and it's pretty good. And really, you know, with the opening track by Kenny Loggins, he did the soundtrack for this movie. In fact, I mean, the song "I'm All Right" is just like perfect, you know, and it's like as soon as it plays, you know you're watching Caddyshack, you know what I mean? It's the perfect song for this movie. It's just gets you in the mood for great film, Holmes. So anyway, so this kid's like, you know, he's a caddy. He's working down at this golf course, Bushwood, in Florida, I believe. They never actually say where they're at, but it's Florida. And you know, he's got like all these brothers and sisters and stuff, and he's trying to get out to go to work. His dad's busting his chops because he wants him to save up for college, you know. I don't think he got any loans, so it's all good, right? Pertinent information being pertinent information. Topical, I guess, is the proper word. But anyway, that's beside the point. So his dad's busting his chops about, you know, it's like, you can't work as a caddy all your life, you know, like you're gonna end up in the lumber yard and stuff. And he's like, dude, I'm like trying to get my stuff. And, you know, so he bails out the house, goes to work, and then you start meeting the other characters, you know. You will meet Bill Murray's character, who's Carl Speckler. He's the groundskeeper at the golf course, which is Bushwood. Sorry, I had a little bit of a brain fart, you know. Trying to keep this rolling. And you also meet Ted Knight's character. You know, Ted Knight is really great in this movie for being a straight actor, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like a serious actor. He does such a great job just being this character. His character is Judge Elihu Smales, you know? And they call him the judge. He's a judge, you know, so he's one of the main characters as well. Like, you know, he's I guess you would say the main antagonist, even though it's not really, I don't know. I guess that's the best spot to put him in. But anyway, Ted Knight sees a gopher tearing up the field, you know, and then there's this great little stuffed gopher that they have that runs through the whole movie, you know, and has interactions with Bill Murray's character, which is Carl, you know, him trying to kill the gopher and gopher outsmarting him, you know. So ultimately, you know, good old Judge sees this gopher and he freaks out and he's like, hey, you guys got to eliminate these guys because they're going to destroy the golf course, you know. And this golf course is like important to this dude. Like, he doesn't own it, but like, you know, it's his kind of pride and joy, you know what I mean? So then you're also introduced to Chevy Chase's character, which is Ty Webb. You saw him in the clip. You know, he's just a really good golfer, but he's not like he's not a competitor. He just does it because he enjoys it, you know what I mean? And him and Danny have a good repertoire, you know. Whenever he comes to play golf, he always has Danny caddy for him, you know. And then you got Ronnie Dangerfield shows up and starts wrecking the joint, you know, in true Rodney Dangerfield fashion, you know. I'm pretty sure most of his stuff was completely improvised, you know. And it just is like his style of, you know, just comedy. It's great. And he plays Al. I'm gonna wreck this this last name, Saravic. Al Saravic, I believe, is his last name. And he builds condos, and he's a developer, you know. He's a real rich dude, and he's just having a blast. He just showed up at this place, and he's rolling through, and he's like just busting everybody's balls, man. He's pretty great, man. So, you know, right away the judge just hates this dude, you know, because he's like, the judge is real reserved, you know, like pompous kind of guy, and you know, Rodney Dangerfield's Rodney Dangerfield. It doesn't matter what you put as his name in the show, as his casting, he's gonna be Rodney Dangerfield. You know what I mean? So he's like, you know, just being, you know, vivacious, I believe is the word. I mean, there's a great scene where like one of the other caddies is trying to pull this guy's bag, and it's like super heavy, you know. And the guy's like, "What you got in here?" He's like, "Rocks." You know, it's like, "Oh, you know, I used to pull stuff far distances." I can't do it, Rodney. But anyway, the guy's like, "Yeah, so?" He's like, "So, let's dance." And then his golf bag has a speaker system, you know, and it's like a car radio, and he plays it, you know, and we get, what's the, is it Journey? I believe Journey, you know, Any Way You Want It. You know, it starts playing, everybody's dancing around, you know, and the judge is just freaking out, getting pissed, you know. And so I guess I would call him Al. Al is, he likes to throw around like bets and stuff. He's like, "Hey, I bet you won't make that shot." He's like, the judge gets pissed. He's like, because he's like, $1,000, you won't make that shot, you know. And he goes to hit the ball, and he misses the hole, you know, and he freaks out, throws the ball, the club and stuff. And you know, Denny stands up for him, says, "Oh, dude, it was just an accident. Don't worry about it." Because of the accident that happened. Well, you know, because he caused damage with the golf club, and Danny's like, "Oh, it was my bad," you know, because Danny's trying to get into college, and he's trying to get this scholarship that the golf course is offering to like the best caddy, I guess, you know. So you know, you have all these interactions as well, and really cool guest appearing, or like another person that's in the movie is Bill Murray's brother, Brian Doyle Murray, who's been in a few movies with him, actually, in the past, as Lou Loomis, who is the guy that's in charge of the caddies, you know? And he's like, I mean, he's not in a lot, but he's a pretty good actor, and it's pretty fun to watch him in his scenes, you know, because like Bill and Brian look so similar, you know. It's like, you can just tell, it's like, dude, this is like Bill Murray's brother, you know. And like back in the day, I didn't realize that until like, you know, credits, and I saw what it was, you know. But anyway, so we go on because I'm rambling too much, and this is gonna be a long video if I don't try to tighten it up. So finally, we have Cindy Morgan as Lacey Underall, who's the judge's niece, and is interested in Ty Webb. But she's also being courted by Danny Noonan. So you have certain scenes with Chevy Chase and Cindy Morgan, you know, which are pretty funny. And in fact, one of the best improv funny moments is there's a scene when they're at Ty Webb's bungalow, you know, and he's giving her a back massage, right? And he literally dumps this whole bottle of oil on her back. And the chick is like, just not having it. And you can see it in her face and stuff. And she's like, "What the hell?" You know? And the funny part about it is that was like straight up improvised. So that whole scene, although she stayed in character, is her actual real, like, you know, response, you know, when she's like, "You're a lunatic," you know what I mean? Like, it's all real. That's like genuine. Like, that wasn't scripted, that wasn't directed, you know, that was like, hey, you know, whoa. And they kept it in the movie, so that's what I'm saying, it was great, you know. But then, you know, so Lacey is running around between, with Ty Webb, but she ends up hooking up with Danny Noonan, and the judge catches him, and he freaks out about it, and he goes after Danny. Danny takes off, goes home, or he doesn't go home. He goes and sleeps at the golf course. The next day he has to go talk to the judge. Judge is like, hey, you know what? We can let water under the bridge, because he's got bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? So he's like, hey, if you straighten up, we'll let it be. Well, at the same time, Al is like sitting there and he's like trying to he makes a bet with the judge, large high dollar bet, and he's like, oh, let's do teams, and the judge ends up going out to play with a bishop, I believe. No, or was he no, it was a doctor, my bad. He plays with this doctor, and Al ends up getting Ty Webb, who doesn't really like to do that kind of stuff, to play with him on his team, So they're playing, and, Al stinks out loud, So he ends up faking an injury so that way he can get a replacement player. That way they can try to pull this out of the muck, So they end up picking Danny to replace him, Ty and Danny. And the judge is like, dude, if you go with them, you can kiss that scholarship goodbye, Holmes. And he's like, whatever, I don't care about the scholarship, So they go and play, and, Carl ends up blowing up the golf course, which ends up making something awesome happen, and everybody's happily ever after. Sorry, I don't want to spoil the movie too much. But it's just a great movie, you know what I mean? And it's really hilarious, definitely worth a watch, So definitely check it out, you know what I mean? Especially if you are a fan of Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Rodney Dangerfield. Man, this movie's for you anyway. I've rambled on long enough. This is going to be a long video. I'm sorry, but hey, it's a good welcome back, right, homies? So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Sharing is caring. And until next time, homies, hopefully I'll have that project video done here pretty soon. I'm just waiting for one more thing. So it should be here today. So anyway, y'all have a good Friday. My beard itches. Feed me, Holmes.